The Dyatlov Pass Incident is one of the most mysterious and haunting unsolved events in the history of mountaineering. It took place in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia in 1959 and involves the deaths of 9 experienced hikers under circumstances that have baffled investigators and sparked numerous theories. In January 1959, a group of 9 hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out on a ski expedition to reach the remote Otorten mountain in the northern Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. The group consisted of 7 men and 2 women, all experienced hikers and skiers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute in Sverdlovsk, now Yekaterinburg. Their goal was to reach the mountain's summit, but they never returned. The group had a reputation for being skilled and well-prepared, and the expedition was intended to be an advanced but manageable challenge. The hikers had been trekking for about 2 weeks in the harsh winter conditions when the tragedy struck. On February 1, 1959, the group began their final ascent toward the summit of Torten Mountain. A few days later, a search party was sent to locate them after they failed to send a telegram from their expected location. The search party discovered the hikers' abandoned tent on February 26, 1959, on the slopes of the mountain. The tent was found in a horrifying state. It had been cut open from the inside, suggesting that the hikers had fled in a hurry. The items inside were left behind, including shoes, warm clothing, and some of their personal belongings. The footprints of the hikers were found leading away from the tent, which indicated they had left barefoot or in socks, despite temperatures being well below freezing. The discovery of the bodies. The search continued, and on February 27, the first 2 bodies were discovered about 1.5 kilometers 1 mile from the tent. These 2 hikers were found near the edge of a forest, wearing only underwear and socks, as though they had been trying to escape something quickly. No obvious signs of injury were visible at first, but their state of undress was puzzling given the extreme cold. Over the following weeks, more bodies were found in various locations around the area. Some of the bodies were found near the tent, others were found farther down the slope. 1 body was found in a stream, and 2 were found near a ravine. Most of the bodies showed signs of physical trauma, but there were no immediate clues as to how or why they had died. Strange injuries and findings. When the bodies were examined, some had injuries that could not easily be explained. Blunt force trauma. Some of the hikers had severe internal injuries, including fractured ribs and a broken skull. These injuries were consistent with a car crash or a violent impact, but there was no sign of external wounds or bruises to suggest an attack. Eyeballs and tongue missing. One of the most disturbing discoveries was that some of the hikers were missing their eyes and, in one case, their tongue. This sparked speculation that the injuries might have been caused by some unknown animal or some form of ritualistic behavior. Radiation traces. Another puzzling finding was the detection of traces of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing, which suggested they had been exposed to radioactive material. This led to speculation about military involvement or secret testing. Peculiar clothing. Some of the bodies were found wearing the clothing of others, as if they had been disrobing or switching clothes in the midst of the crisis. Theories behind the Dyatlov Pass Incident. The Dyatlov Pass Incident has inspired many theories over the years, ranging from scientific to more bizarre and speculative explanations. Here are some of the most popular. Avalanche theory. The most widely accepted theory is that the hikers were caught in an avalanche. The avalanche could have caused the group to panic and flee the tent in a hurry, leaving behind their gear. Some investigators believe that the hikers cut their way out of the tent to escape the avalanche, and the internal injuries were caused by the force of the snow. However, some elements don't fit this theory, such as the lack of avalanche debris near the tent and the fact that the hikers were found far away from the potential avalanche site. Katabatic wind. Another natural explanation is the theory of katabatic winds, a type of wind that flows downhill and can be extremely strong and cold. This could have created conditions so terrifying that the hikers might have panicked and fled the tent in fear. However, this doesn't explain the serious internal injuries or the strange radiation traces, military involvement, or testing. Some speculate that the Soviet military was conducting secret tests in the area, possibly involving chemical or biological weapons, and that the hikers inadvertently stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to. The radiation traces and unusual injuries led some to believe that the hikers were victims of a military experiment gone wrong, though no conclusive evidence supports this. Yeti, or animal attack. Another theory, though largely debunked, suggests that the hikers were attacked by a wild animal, such as a yeti or some other undiscovered creature. The missing eyes and tongue fueled this idea, but no other evidence supports the notion of an animal attack. Extraterrestrial involvement. One of the more bizarre theories is that the hikers were killed by extraterrestrials. This theory gained traction in popular culture due to the strange nature of the injuries and the eerie circumstances of the case. However, there is no solid evidence to suggest that this is a plausible explanation. Infrasound or psychoacoustic effects. One more intriguing theory is that infrasound, a phenomenon where low-frequency sound waves cause disorientation, fear, and panic, could have driven the hikers to flee in a state of extreme stress and confusion. Infrasound is known to cause physical and psychological effects in humans, and some believe it might have been generated by wind interacting with the landscape, though there is little direct evidence for this. The official investigation and conclusion. The Soviet authorities conducted an investigation into the deaths, but they were unable to come to a definitive conclusion. The final report suggested that the hikers had died from a combination of hypothermia and trauma, but no clear cause of the trauma was given. The investigation was officially closed, but the strange circumstances surrounding the deaths remained a mystery. In 1990, the Soviet government declassified some of the investigation's documents, and new theories and speculations emerged. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, suggesting that an avalanche might be the most likely cause of the deaths, but again, they could not provide a definitive explanation for all the oddities surrounding the incident. Theories that stand out. While the avalanche theory seems the most plausible, the unexplained injuries and the eerie details of the case still make the Dyatlov Pass incident one of the most compelling unsolved mysteries in modern history. Whether it was a natural disaster, a military cover-up, or something far more bizarre, the mystery of what happened to the Dyatlov group continues to captivate and intrigue. Conclusion. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most chilling and perplexing mysteries of the 20th century. Despite decades of investigation, the truth about what happened to Igor Dyatlov and his companions on that fateful winter expedition may never be fully understood. Whether it was an avalanche, a military experiment gone wrong, or something more supernatural, the eerie circumstances and unresolved questions ensure that the Dyatlov Pass incident will remain a source of fascination for years to come.